and welcome to this week's What Sold video for the week of January 29th through February 4th. If you're new here, I'm Wendy and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at thrift stores, garage sales, and flea markets to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, stick around. And make sure to like and subscribe with the notification bells turned on.
Nina's Jewels today. Come on in. Nina's Jewels today. Come on in.
All right, let's get started. Well, this was a pretty good week for us. We were still ramping up a bit from our suspension from the previous week, but it wasn't too bad. And we had a lot of sales that were full asking price, which was great. And we had a lot of sales that were not from promoted listings because I don't think eBay was promoting us as much as they normally do. So that was also great. So we'll just dive right in and I'll tell you what we sold. All right, the first thing that we sold was something that we purchased at a garage sale. The brand was called Brony and Bow. It was a Daddy and Me necktie set. So it was a necktie that was adult men's size and then one that was a matching, I think it was a matching toddler size bow tie. It was really cute. We had gotten several of these at a garage sale. My daughter and I had cleaned out this garage sale of all their good stuff when they had first opened. They hadn't even unpacked everything. And we found this box full of stuff. I think the lady that had the garage sale must have had maybe a boutique at some kind of antique type mall or something like that and had some old merchandise or closed her booth or something. Because we got a lot of those type items that she had marked for sale. They were new with tags items. And they're kind of slow moving in our eBay store, but we have already completely made our money back. She gave us great prices and we have already completely made our money back on that garage sale. So this particular item sold for $26.99. We have several more of them to sell and the cost of goods was 87 cents. And, we might promote those more heavily around Father's Day time and offer those for more of a sale price because they're a really cute Father's Day type item. But those sold for full asking price. The one downside of this was this particular buyer complained that they didn't really complain. Well, they sort of complained. They left us positive feedback, but within the positive feedback, they said that the shipping was late. And it was during the time that we live in North Texas, and it was during the time that we had a snowstorm and our postal service was closed for 3 days. And typically eBay will update the expected arrival date for those items, but they didn't do that. And I was really frustrated about it because we had two back-to-back positive feedbacks that had that negative mention in them. And so I was frustrated that eBay did not update that. And, maybe we should have been more proactive and notified our buyers of that. But I guess I just was relying on eBay to take care of that for us. So I will know better next time that I can't always rely on them to do that. But anyway, I was also, very happy that they didn't leave negative feedback. It was nice of them to leave positive feedback. But anyway, just something to note. Next up was a magazine that we had gotten from the free box of magazines. We had gotten 6 boxes of free magazines from a lady on Nextdoor, and this was one of them. It sold for $8.78 on offer to buyer, and our cost was $0. Next up was a 1995 Pinnacle Albert Bell pen, like a hat pin, a lapel pin, a pin back. It was sealed in the factory package. This belonged to my husband. We had several of these and we sold all of them immediately, but for some reason this Albert Bell pen sat there for a really long time. But it did eventually sell for $19.98 on offer to buyer. Our cost we considered was $0 since it was ours. Next was another item that belonged to my husband. It was a Stafford men's light blue dress shirt. It sold for $11.98 and that sold on offer to buyer. Next was another item that belonged to us. We sold a lot of things that belonged to us this particular week for some reason. It was a Wonder Nation girls terry cloth swimsuit cover-up that belonged to my daughter. That sold for $14.98 on offer to buyer. Next was something we got in the Goodwill Bins. It sold within 24 hours. my husband was like, this is going to sell immediately. And I questioned him, but he was right. I should have priced it a little bit higher. It was, and sometimes, you know, I don't say that because I'm just happy that it sold. But I think on this item, I probably should have priced it a little bit higher. There were none other listed on eBay. And I think we could have gotten probably closer to like 25. This was a Rock Point brand 100% cotton baseball cap, and it was embroidered with Texas State Guard. So someone was really excited to have it at the full price of $18.99. We had paid 68 cents at the Goodwill Bins. Next up was a pair of Wrangler's men's jeans. They were size 36 by 32, and they had the most heavy crease in them ever, which didn't seem to fit with the jeans for in my opinion. And I'm not even sure why we picked them up. I think maybe we were just selling a lot of Wrangler men's jeans at the time, and we were like, oh, we'll grab these. But I think that really heavy crease caused them to not sell as fast as some of the others, but we did eventually sell them. We sold them at a full asking price of $22.99. We got positive feedback from the buyer, and we got those at the Goodwill outlet for $1.68. Next up was another item that belonged to me. It was a pair of Ellen Tracy fuzzy slippers. I just got a new pair of slippers that I prefer, but these were still very nice. We sold those for $12.68 on offer to buyer. Next up was a vintage French Shriner wood shoe shaper or shoe tree. It was just the left foot though. We couldn't find the right foot. I don't know if it was in the bins and we just couldn't find it, or if it was they just had the left foot and donated it. But that sold for $13.48, offer to buyer. We had paid 92 cents and we received positive feedback from the buyer on that. They liked it. Next up was a Banana Republic new with tags size 4 no iron button up dress shirt for a woman. It sold for $32 on best offer, and we had paid $6.84 at a thrift store. That was a really nice shirt. Next up was something that we had gotten doing retail arbitrage. They were Easter gel clings, like reusable clings for window decorations. And we had several variations, and they purchased 3 different variations plus a duplicate of one of the variations. So they purchased 4 sets in total for a total of $45.54. And they did use our volume pricing promotion discount on those. And we had paid $1.32 for those at Big Lots. And we have found that window gel clings or window clings, like for holiday decorations of any kind, they just sell amazingly well for us. So after the holidays, after any holidays, Christmas, Easter, any holiday, Valentine's Day, like anything like that, we'll go to stores and shop the holiday stuff at 75, 90% off, and we try to find the window clings for sure because they sell. And you'll see that we have more window clings, and this particular what sold actually. So then the next item was another item that belonged to us. It was a set of curtain panels. They were gray, they weren't real silk, but they were a silk look. The brand was Threshold, and those sold for $25 on best offer. We had those in our store for a long time, so I accepted a kind of a lower offer because they were really nice curtains. Next was something we got in the Goodwill Bins. The brand was Ook, or O-O-K, I don't know how you say it. It was a French cleat picture hanging system. It was new in package, and it sold for $21.99, and we purchased it for 92 cents. Next was the other set of window clings. This one was a Dr. Seuss Grinch theme. It sold for $12.68, and we had gotten that retail arbitrage for $1.35, and that sold on offer to buyer. And if you've never watched one of our videos before, I'll mention that if you notice that some of our prices end in the number 8, and I always try to end, when I'm making an offer to buyer, I try to end it in the number 8. And that just helps us for internal record keeping purposes, keep track of how successful our offers to buyers are. And it doesn't always work because sometimes people will negotiate back and they don't know to end it in the number 8, but it does help us see how successful our offers are. And our offers to buyers is a very successful selling strategy for us. Next up is a Kenneth Cole Reaction 100% silk tie that we had gotten. And I had gotten the best deal on Facebook Marketplace on like 4 or 5 big garbage bags of clothes. And I had paid $50 for all of it, for the whole lot. And a lot of it was not stuff that we could sell. We had to redonate some of it. We had to actually throw some of it away. And a few items we kept, and then a lot of it we listed. And we made so much money on that purchase. And we've sold off most of the best stuff. We still have several items listed, but this came from that particular lot. We still have a few things to sell, but you know, I think the sales are just trickling in at this point. But that sold for $11 and our cost was 67 cents, and it sold on best offer. I wish I could find another big lot like that for that price, but I've been looking and I can't find another one. That was just the best deal. And she was a really nice lady. Next was another of the free magazines. It was a Better Homes and Gardens Veggie Full 2018 Special Interest magazine. It was like a special publication that they did. It sold for $9.08 and our cost was $0. Sold on offer to buyer. Next was something we got in the Goodwill Bins. It was a baby fat denim one-piece strapless jumpsuit. That sold for $44.98 on offer to buyer, and we had paid 61 cents. Next was a really pretty two-piece Michael Kors peasant outfit. It was a blouse and a skirt, and that sold for $67.98. I had gotten that at a garage sale for $10, and that sold on offer to buyer. Next was another thing we got at a garage sale. It was an indoor-outdoor digital thermometer. It had like a temperature probe that you placed outside and then a readout that you could keep inside, and it would tell you the thermometer. That brand was AccuRite. That sold on best offer for $18, and we had paid $5. It was new in the package. Next up was another item we got at a garage sale. It was a women's plus size, really pretty swim cover up, like little dress. It was, the brand was Derek Hart, and it was new with tags. It sold for $14 on best offer, and we had paid $1 for it. Next was something we got on retail arbitrage. It was a Levi's, had a leather logo patch on it, and it was a men's beanie. It sold for $19 on best offer, and we had paid $5.84. Next was, so in one of my recent videos, I made the mistake of saying, oh, we never pick up board games at the Goodwill Bins. And now I'm just in several other videos, I've looked back and I'm like, oh, we picked up that board game, and we picked up that board game, and we sold this board game that we got at the Goodwill Bins, and we sold these board game parts that we got at the Goodwill Bins. So now I'm having to eat crow because I'm realizing we pick up board games at the Goodwill Bins all the time. So I was wrong. So this particular day, we picked up a bounce-off game, and I think we either weren't sure if it was complete or we knew it was incomplete, and we had the intention of parting it out. But these were parts from the Mattel bounce-off game, and they were all the yellow balls from the game, and they sold for $9.99, and our cost was 61 cents. And we still have, you know, the blue balls from that game and the cards and the game board all listed. We have watchers on some of those items, so parting it out ends up working out really well. Sometimes if you accidentally get a game that's incomplete, or if you want to buy a game on purpose to part it out, sometimes that works out really, really well. Next up is it was a vintage 1980. The brand was Dolce, and it was a acid washed women's ruched jacket, and it had like zippers on the sleeves. I mean, it was quintessential 80s. And if you watched one of our previous What Sold videos, you saw that I mentioned this jacket because when I purchased it, it had an American Airlines service lapel pin on it. And I picked up the jacket and I was questioning, like, is this vintage or is it made to look vintage? And then I saw that it had that American Airlines service pin on it, and I knew that it was vintage because I knew that pin was vintage. So it was also a bonus because we got that pin with the jacket, and we sold that pin already for $20. And now this jacket has sold for $49.99, which was our full asking price. And we paid $5.41 for the jacket. And then we also sold the lapel pins. So that was quite the score. And I have to admit, I am a child of the 80s, and I was prancing around the house in that jacket, feeling pretty cool. Next up is a toy that we got in a big toy bag from the thrift store. It is a Disney Pixar Cars to Carlo Veloso die-cast car. It was about 4 inches long, and it sold for $11.99, and we got it for 43 cents in a big bag of toys. And we got this next thing in that same bag of toys. It was a lot of 11 rubber amphibians. It had frogs and snakes and a lizard and things like that in it. It sold for $14.59 on, I believe, Best Offer, and we paid 43 cents for it. And if you watched the Are We in an eBay Wormhole video, you saw that this particular buyer complained and wanted a refund or a partial refund because she said that these animals were not realistic, she couldn't use them, and they had glitter all over them. And I said, and she was like, I can't use them and I want my money back. And I was like, well, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you your money back because number one, they weren't portrayed as realistic. And number two, you can clearly see the glitter all over them. I mean, it was clearly obvious in all the pictures. And she backed off and said, she seemed upset, but I think she was just fishing for a refund because I never heard anything else from her. I did not receive negative feedback, at least I haven't yet. But I was really frustrated at the time because I was having so many negative things happen to me. But I was really frustrated that she acted like I had misrepresented the item when I was like, well, it didn't say like, realistic amphibians in the title, and you can clearly see the glitter in every photo, so that was frustrating. But we did get a negative message back on that particular item. Next up is another item from the lot of free magazines, and the name of the magazine is Good Grit. It sold for $10 on Best Offer, and we had gotten that through Nextdoor. Next was an item we got at a garage sale for $1. It was a vintage 1997 Hallmark ornament. It was called All God's Children. The artist was Martha Root. That sold for $10 if I didn't mention that. Next was another item from the lot of free magazines, and it was a lot of 8 Writer's Digest magazines from 1997 to 2004. Those sold for $19.99, and our cost was free. Next was a 20-pack of Texas Longhorns luncheon napkins, just party napkins. We paid 25 cents for those. I think we got them in like a box of party supplies or something. And they sold for $6.75. Next was a pair of men's Ralph Lauren charcoal gray dress pants. Those sold for $26.38, and we had gotten those at a thrift store for $3.25. Next was quite the dramatic event as well. It was a vintage 2002 CD-ROM laser lens cleaner. It was new in the package, and that sold for $14.99, which was our full asking price, and we had paid, actually it sold for $15.99, which was our full asking price, and we had paid $1.25. And pretty shortly after the buyer received it, I received a message from her. This whole incident, by the way, is documented in our eBay wormhole video, which I'll link up here, and I'll link also down below. But she complained and said that the 2002 software did not work in her modern computer. I was like, what? Wait, what? I was so confused that she was trying to use it in a modern computer. And before I had a chance to respond to her, she opened an item not as described return using the eBay buyer protection program. So the story is long and detailed, and you can view it in the video, but we just ultimately ended up giving her money back because there was no reasoning with this particular buyer. So you can check out the full story down below, but unfortunately this particular sale did not work out for us, and we received a used item back, which we now cannot sell. So darn. Next up, oh, the only good thing to come out of that though is that she did leave us positive feedback, so I will mention that. So that was a weird situation. Next up is an item that we acquired from another business that we own, but we had a lot of them and we still have a few left, but these have almost all sold out. And they are vintage 19 by 25 Colt firearm posters. This one sold for $14.99 and our cost was $0. Next was a vintage Playboy magazine from May 1979 that we got in a big lot of vintage Playboys. We paid $40 total for them. Our cost per issue was $1.43. This one sold for $7.58, and we acquired those through the Nextdoor app. Next was an item that belonged to me. It was a woman's nightgown. The brand was Midnight by Carol Hockman, and I did notice when comping these that these sold pretty high for nightgowns, and they had a pretty good sell-through rate. Although this one did take a little while to sell. It had a few watchers though. It sold for $35.09 and our cost was $0. Next was a new with tags item that we purchased at the thrift store. The brand was Jerry, and it was a reversible down-filled women's puffer vest. It sold for $35.99 and we had purchased it for $6.94. Next was a pair of comfort shoes. They were the brand Drew. They sold for $36.48 and we had gotten those at the thrift store for $4.87. Those sold pretty fast. Next was another board game that we got at the Goodwill outlet. It was Which Came First, the Chicken or the Egg? It was a trivia game, and it seemed like it was a new game. It was out of the shrink wrap, but it seemed like it was new because all of the pieces were unpunched from the cardboard. So we listed it as complete, and then we mentioned that all the pieces were unpunched, but the outer box was a little bit beat up from being in the bins. But we sold that for $24.99, and we paid 61 cents. And then last, I'll go over all of the collectible cards that we sold. If you've watched a previous video, you know that my husband has a large collection of trading cards from different various sports and comic cards. And that's kind of how we started our eBay business. We have lots of those listed and lots still to list. They're kind of a bread and butter item for us, and we sell them all the time. And although they sometimes sell for low amounts, collectively, we do make quite a bit of money on those. So this particular week, we sold 15 cards for a total of $58.85. So that wraps up this week's What Sold video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please make sure and give us a like. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure to subscribe with the notification bells turned on. We will see you guys next time, and thanks so much for joining. Bye.
Ninasjewels.